All right, guys, sorry that I am not in class today again. I had a meeting that I had to attend, so I will not be there. So let's go over these notes. I am going to go pretty in depth with some of these, but then a few of them I'm going to go fairly quickly. So please catch, just pause if you need to. Aside from that, just remember that you always have teachers in the classroom that are able to help you. So it's 2 pages and some, but they're gonna go fairly quickly, and I am near the end of the day here, so I apologize if you hear a loud bell around the 3-minute mark. So let's go ahead and start. So remember that these lines here, well, I guess, let's remember what we did yesterday. Yesterday we learned how to solve systems by graphing, and we also learned how to check whether an ordered pair was an answer. Oh, that was for my last one, my Spanish one, right? So in this case, what we're gonna do is we're going to go ahead and go ahead and graph these 2 lines, and then we're gonna find where X marks the spot. So here, remember, y equals mx plus b is the form that we always want to use. In this case, for the first line, let's say that is green. My m is negative x, or negative 1, right? The x is not part of my slope, but the negative in front of it is. And since I have 1x there, my slope is negative 1. But remember, whenever it's a whole number, we like to go ahead and divide that by 1. So negative 1 is my slope, negative 1 over 1, essentially. I know that when I get to it, I'm going to go down because it is negative, and to the right because we always go to the right from the denominator. My b is the number all by itself, so the plus 3. So b is 3. Now, for the second line, let's say that's orange. Y equals x plus 1. My m, well, I have 1x, so 1 is my slope. Again, it's a whole number, so I'm going to go ahead and divide that by 1. It's positive, so I know I'm going to go up, and we always go to the right. And my b is going to be the number all by its lonesome, so the 1, right? This is my y-intercept. These 2 numbers here are my y-intercepts. So yes, we do have to graph 2 lines. That's why we have to get really good at graphing. So remember, we always start by graphing the y-intercept. For the green line, it is at 3. Remember, this is my y-intercept. This is my x-intercept. So I'm going to put my first point at positive 3 on the vertical line there. Then we're going to take 1 step down, 1 to the right from the slope. That is my slope, so 1 step down, 1 to the right, 1 step down, 1 to the right, and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to stop actually right here. That's enough. That should be enough, and if it's not, well, pues yeah. So here we go. We are all done here. That's my first line. Super easy, right? Nothing too bad, nothing that we haven't learned. Now let's go ahead and graph my orange line. Well, my orange line's y-intercept is at positive 1, so I'm going to go ahead and write my first point here. And then remember, my slope is 1 over 1, so we're going to take 1 step up, 1 to the right. So let's go ahead and do that. Boom, we already crossed the line. Let's go the opposite direction just for a couple. And then here we are. This is my second line. Again, sorry for that big loud beep, but there you go. So now I have my 2 lines. I can see that they cross here. Real easy. Remember, X marks the spot, right? X marks the spot. So this point here is the spot. That's my answer. So my answer for that will be X first, which is 1, and Y second, which is 2. So 1, 2 is my answer. Perfect. Let's do that a couple more times. Right over here. Right, so what I like to do again is I'm going to go ahead and just mark my M and my B. And again, the first few here, we're going to go pretty in depth just in case anybody is lost. So let's do the green one first. M is 2. B is negative 5, right? First is my M. This negative 5 is my B. And then for my orange one, my M is 1 over 2. and my b is negative 2. Now remember, the m, the green line, is a whole number. So I'm going to go ahead and divide that by 1. And now let's go ahead and start graphing them. So for the green one, first things first, my b is negative 5. So vertical line here, we're going to go and make my first point at negative 5. Then we're going to, because this 2 is positive, I know it's going to go up 2 to the right 1. So up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And you can keep going, but I'm just going to stop right here. So let's go. And again, sorry if there's a lot of noise. The end of the day, it is the end of the day. It's 2:47, so kids are walking out in the hall. Perfect. I went ahead and finished my first line. Now the line being straight really doesn't matter too much as long as your points are good. If your points are messed up or they're not right or they are a little off, that can mess up your solution. If your line is not straight, that will also mess up your solution. But again, the line won't matter as long as your points are good. So always make sure that your points are good. So here, my b is negative 2. So I'm going to put my first point at negative 2 on the y-intercept. And then my slope is 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2 is right here. And look at that. Right away, we ended up getting my intersection. And therefore, my intersection is this point right here, right? X marks the spot, and that spot is x is equal to 2, and my y is equal to negative 1. So that is my answer for this system. Now let's go ahead and move on to C. Now right away, one thing that I noticed is that this system has the slopes of negative 2. They both are negative 2. So again, let's keep going. Green for the top one, orange for the bottom one. So right away, I know that when we talk about lines, if they have slopes that are the same, congruent, they're going to be parallel as long as they have a different starting point. So remember that when we graph a line, our B is generally our starting point, right? We put it for a point at 4 in this case. And then from there, we go ahead and take 2 steps down, 1 to the right. Our B, our 4, was our starting point. From there, we can take 2 steps down, 1 to the right, and we can keep going this way for infinite amount of time, right? Or we can actually go the other direction too, up and to the left, if we really wanted to. But because our B is essentially our starting point and our slope is negative 2 over 1, right? And on my second line, my orange one, our starting point is negative 1 because we have that slope being the same, negative 2 over 1, they're never going to catch up to each other, right? They're going to be running next to each other. So I guess a good way of thinking about this is think about, so I do cross country, you guys know, right? I have state just this weekend. Well, if I have one kid who starts over here and they are both just as fast, right? So let's say this is the starting line. And so one student is right here, and he goes at 4 miles an hour. He's faster than that, but let's say he goes. But then I have another student start over here, and he's just as fast. The pink is never going to catch up to the green. They're never going to be able to catch up to each other. They're equally as fast, but because they started at a different spot on the line, they are never going to catch up to each other. So in this case, my 2 lines are parallel because they have the same speed, the same rate of change being negative 2 over 1, but they have a different starting point. If they have the same starting point and the same rate of change, well, then they'd be infinite many solutions. But because this one they'll never catch up to each other, this is no solutions. No soluciones. No. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and do letter D. Letter D, I'm going to speed up for this one a little bit. -5 is my B. Here we are. My slope is 3 over 1, so 3 over 1, up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. Let's do 1 point here. That's my first line. Boom, boom. And then my second line, being orange, my B is +7, and my slope is -1 over 1. So down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. So notice that that point, I barely got that point on, not on time, but I stopped right at that point, not on purpose, just happened to be to where I stopped. But those points is where I can tell where they're going to cross. The lines don't really have to be straight as long as your points are good. I can tell that we're going to have a solution at 3, 4, at 3, 4. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Now, this is where we slow down a little bit. Remember, when we have y equals a number and x equals a number, we have 2 3-letter words that we like to use. The first one, well, give me 1 second. The first one is hoi, right? Horizontal line. M is 0, my slope is 0, and my y is -2, and that's my equation. Well, where is y -2? Well, it's here. And how do we make a horizontal line? Well, horizontal line is left, right. So boom, that's my first line. Right, and remember that the reason this is true is because anywhere on this line, my y is always -2. It doesn't matter where it is. It goes infinitely to the left and to the right. Now, for my x equals 5, well, we use a different word. We use vux. X equals 5, undefined slope would be, well, that would be my slope, is undefined. And we have a vertical line. Horizontal. Vertical is up and down, so I'm like, okay, where's x equal to 5? Well, if this is my x-axis, this is my x equals 5. And here we go. There we go. That's going to be my line, and we cross right there. And notice, really, the reason I love these is that they are just the copy-paste of the 2 numbers we had. 5 is my x, y is my -2. That's it, we're done. Super great, super fast, super easy. Now, this one, right, I'm gonna go ahead and graph the first line really fast. My y-intercept is -5, my b. My slope is 1 over 3, so let's just make a few points to the right. I'm going to go down 1, left 3 a couple times. And so, boom, boom. But what happens with my second line? That line is not in slope-intercept form. It's in standard form. Actually, it's not even in standard form. It's in this weird form that I don't even know. I know that in order for us to be able to graph, we need this in y equals mx plus b form. That means that for now, I'm going to go ahead and ignore this y. I am going to try to cancel out the positive 2x. Well, how do we cancel out positive 2x? Well, by minusing 2x, right? 2x minus 2x is 0x, so that's gone. The y comes down. Now I'm going to just copy this side again. Right, -2x, and because this is positive, we just do +2. Now again, the reason we have to rewrite them and we can't combine them is because one has an x and one doesn't. They are not like terms. We cannot combine. And that's it. We are done. The y is already by itself. There is no number next to the y, so we are in y equals mx plus b. My first point is going to go on my y-intercept being +2. My slope for this one is -2/1. So I'm going to take 2 steps to the down and 1 to the right. And we're going to keep doing that until we finally hit. And there it is. I went ahead and hit that line that we had drawn originally. And now I'm going to go ahead and make my line. And again, I don't know why this is happening. It just keeps going in parts. Let's do this. Does not want to work today. Well, I mean, it was working perfectly fine. And here we are. Those are my 2 lines. It looks like we intersect here. X marks the spot at 3, -4. Boom. That's my answer. Awesome. This should be -2, real good. All right. We have about 2 questions left, so let's see if we can finish this up. Now, these are in standard form. Now, what I like about these is that they're always done the same way. Always. When you have x plus or minus y, right, equals a number, these are always done the exact same way. Well, what does that mean, Mr. Martinez? Well, that means that first, we're always going to want to cancel out the x. What I want to do is always ignore the y. Let's do green top. So that means we need to cancel out positive 3x. How do we do that? Well, negative 3x on both sides. So essentially, they're always done the same way. Notice, watch, just watch me. 3x minus 3x, 0x. So now I'm just going to rewrite negative 2y as the top one. This guy here in the green. Now, again, we can't combine the negative 3x and the negative 8, so we just rewrite those. Negative 3x, negative 8. And now let's go ahead and skip to this one really quick. Same exact process. Because I want to ignore the x or the y, I have to cancel the x. So that's positive x, so we're going to minus x on both sides. The 2y comes down, and then we just rewrite the right side. Negative x first, negative 8. Now look, the final step is the same for both. This one has to be divided by a number, being -2. Everything has to be divided. Y. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. 3 divided by 2, well, that's just 3/2. I can't bring this or simplify this anymore. Negative divided by a negative is a positive, so this is 8 divided by 2 is positive 4. Now, finally, we're going to divide by 2 on the right side. Y is equal, well, this I have negative 1x, so this is just negative 1/2x. Negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. So there we go. These are our 2 lines. And they're done exactly the same. We cancel our x, then divide by the number in front of our y. Exact same thing. Let's go ahead and finish this up. Y-intercept for the green line is going to be 4. My m is 3/2, so 1, 2, 3/1, 2. I can't go that direction anymore, right? So because I can't go 3/2, can't go up and to the right anymore, I'm going to go ahead and invert that by going opposite direction of both. Down and to the left. Down 1, 2, 3, left 2. Down 1, 2, 3, left 2. And that is my line. And again, line doesn't have to be perfect. Here, my slope is my y-intercept is -4. My slope is -1/2, so that means down and to the right. But notice, if I keep going to the right, I'm never going to hit the green line. So I have to invert this and go up and to the left, right? Instead of going down, I'm going up. Instead of going to the right, I'm going to the left. Up 1/2, up 1, left 2. There we go. We finally hit the green line. And there we are. And again, see, my lines aren't super perfect, at least the orange one isn't. Actually, neither of them are. But because the points intersect here, I can tell my solution is -4 and -2. Right? My x here, and then my y. -4, -2. And that's it. We're done with this. So now, again, if you guys have any questions, please ask anyone in the room, right? Mrs. Sosa, Mrs. Serna, Mr. G. Aside from that, these are our last two problems. Now, what this says is numerically, we can also find solutions of systems of equation using table of values. Here, really, all you have to do is find what two values exist in those tables at the same time. Remember yesterday when I was telling you, the reason this is a solution is because this solution, this point is the only point that exists on those two lines at the same time, right? -4, -2 exists on this line, and the only other point that exists on this line at the same time is -4, -2. So here, all you're looking for is the lines that, the 2 points, or I guess the points, the x and y value that match. Here I've got -3, -6, but -3, -6 doesn't match with -3, -2. -2, -4 doesn't match with -2, -1. -1, -2 doesn't match with -1, 0. 0, 0 does not match with 0, 1, but then look what happens with 1, 2. Okay, there's probably some dead spots here on my thing. 1, 2 exists on both of these tables. So, because they have an x and a y value, I know I can write this as an ordered pair of x is 1, y is 2. That is my answer. And just for the sake of checking, right, 2, 4 doesn't match with 2, 3. 3, 6 doesn't match with 3, 4. That's the only value that exists on both of these tables. So that is my solution. Right away, here you go. Take 2 seconds. I already see what my values are that match. -2, 4, -2, 4. And just by glancing, I can tell there are no other values on here that match. So my answer here is going to be -2, 4. And that is it. We are done with notes for the day. If you guys have any questions, please ask anybody else in the room or anybody in the room with you, right? Ask your friends, ask your classmates, ask any of the adults in the class. For homework and for the rest of the period, you just have worksheet B. So make sure that you work on that. It is a little bit long, being 2 pages and then some. So have that done hopefully by tomorrow. And then tomorrow I will go over this, a little bit of this probably, and the worksheet A. And that is it. Have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.